Okay, so hello everybody, and I try to start our presentation with some theoretical aspects of the approach, what we trying to explain you today. And first, I would like to discuss a bit about the actual situation which make us to start to develop a new approach in order to find an appropriate support for learners in the very quickly changing environment. So actual situation, according to our opinion, consists of several important issues. The first one is that there is a very rapid technological advancements which causes a lot of changing in social, cultural, economic environments. And at the same time, it's very characteristic thing that the complexity of the problems, what we have to solve in these new circumstances, became more and more complex. And our problem-solving attitude and problem-solving skills are not enough to analyze this type of complexity and provide an adequate solution for them. So we can hope only that the next generation will have these skills for solving the problems with higher and higher complexity. At the same time, unfortunately, we see that the learning, what takes place actually is very episodical. It means that it happens in episodical situations, the sources of which come from very different places, not only from school, of course, but from the internet, from information spaces, not only internet, but social networks and so on. And as a result, we have a very fragmented knowledge, which is very difficult to manage afterwards. And of course, the information space is very interfered from real information sources and virtual information sources, and this very hybrid information reality we try to teach our learners. And it's very important characteristics of today that instead of knowledge and analytical skills for reasoning, more and more the data centering and superficial thinking appears in the first place. And this concerned also with the fact that we think mostly with patterns, and this is why pattern-based operationalization happens without theoretically based analytical reasoning. And of course, this provides an important challenge for us. Namely, we have to find the new tools for describing and understanding the new cultural and socio-economical conditions. And of course, it's an important question. If we want to teach pupils for this new situation, that we have to provide appropriate educational philosophy, and we have to develop it, of course, for helping to develop the new approach to education. And the main goal what we have in the actual situation, that any kind of approach which we want to propose should be appropriate even for mass education. Because if it will be good only for an elite, we won't provide any changes for the future. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the fragmented knowledge is a barrier for our educational approach. So it's a very important question, how to turn fragmented experience and knowledge into a coherent and effective operationalizable knowledge. So, and this question I ask in this case from you, and I would like to have some comments, ideas, how you see this type of question. If you can, please, through chat, you can write down your opinion. And at the end, I hope we can discuss all the proposals, what you have, and some of them what we provided and experimented during our practice. And the main education objectives, what we have actually, is that we would like to ensure learners' skills, to develop the learners' skills and competencies, to enable individuals to become able to give an adequate response to all possible changes in the natural, artificial, and socio-economical environments throughout their entire life. So we think that there are some skills and competencies which will be helpful. And this, what we think that are helpful, is concerned somehow with the art of thinking. And we, of course, at the same time, concern different type of intelligences, and in each of which we would like to provide some skills for the learners to have a versatile personality after the school years. At the same time, we would like to stop the contradiction between the educational goal of the society and that of the individuals. And of course, we have to provide a highly productive educational space for realizing the main educational goals. And how to organize this space is it's a challenge, and at the same time is one of the main educational objectives. And of course, these organizations should be appropriate even in a mass schooling environment too. And if we cannot be efficient with this organization, we take into account an important principle, namely that we want to personalize the education processes, even in the mass schooling environments. And of course, for this, to achieve these goals, we developed a theory among which we deal in this theory with knowledge formation, and one of the main aspects or concepts are information and knowledge, which we know that it comes from real and virtual environment, and somehow we have to able to handle information and knowledge, and of course data coming from different sources, from real and virtual environments, and somehow combine them in order to form the appropriate knowledge handling and management skills for the learners. And how we think about the knowledge, personal knowledge, as according to our approach, knowledge is a special organ of the mind, which should be, during the learning process and during the education, grow as an organ, and this goes through knowledge acquisition in a freedom-based, self-regulating activity in the appropriately organized educational space. And this means that we also provide a theory of learning where we want to show how to shift from authority-based learning style into a cognition-based deep learning where deep means a meaningful learning, which includes understanding of the deeper structure of problem situations. And of course, it supports the framing and solving different type of problems, and thus enabling the students to transfer their knowledge from one area to another one, or from one problem situation to a new one. And at the same time, we try to integrate, provide a methodology by which we can turn fragmented experience and knowledge into a coherent and effective operationalizable knowledge, which I will discuss a bit later. So, and what type of learning process we would like to realize in this frame? So this is, the frame is, the main drives here are interest and curiosity of the learners, through which we can personalize their learning processes. And the educational model, what we propose here, provides methods to build the education environment, it provides tools for replacing knowledge transfer by growing knowledge competencies, and it maintains active interest and mobilizes the individual capacities of the pupils. And the main constituent of the proposed model is the educational park of open studios, or with other words, the park school. So about the park school and the practice what we have in this area, Olga will tell some words. Please.
Thank you, Thomas. So I will start, I think, not with the describing, but with a small video. One of our schools, one of our projects, Olga, and you will understand that it is self-directed education. Let's take a look. It's our school from the sky. It's our students learning. Students, we have 35 students and 20 kindergarten, pre-park schooling. They are growing plants, they are playing all the time. We have a small lake, you see. They play guitar, they do whatever they want, but not the teachers are not sitting and waiting when students will come. Every morning we have a circle, we discuss what everybody proposed to do, and teachers propose something for students, and students could agree or disagree with teachers. And now it's our lovely students, our handicraft, etc., etc. You see that they are living there, and now they're missing the school as much as we are missing the same school. Sometimes we make lecturing. Lectures could be from the teachers and from the students. Thanks, Olga. As well, all of us could give lectures, but what for we are doing that, I will explain you now. And we will start with the two pictures. In schools, for my opinion, for sure, in schools like Sudbury Valley, or whenever we are speaking about self-directed learning, we are thinking about children and about their point of view to the future, like that. It is nice nature, everything is good, but where to go? But no, guys, the road is something like that. And by the way, it is not the most terrible question what road to choose. The most serious question is what road to build, where to go, with whom to go, what to do. And that is why we have to construct a new schooling system, not only for small part of the homeschooling or art schools, but for all students all over the world. So in our schools, because we open several projects, we open special place. Adults are opening them. It's not classes or lessons. It's just places led by adults, and we call them park tutors. In the same time, when students don't want to go to park tutors, they are allowed to do whatever they want, whatever they need, and we call their park tutors. It's all the places. They open a lot of different places, many of them. It is something here in my window, I don't understand. This third place we organize, it's democratic governance. Such structure can't be ruling by adults. We are all together, we discuss all the problems which happened, and for sure it's democratic school. And one more space which we officially use, it's interaction with all online spaces through internet. So our school is the same time at this nice place, and it is our school as well, like you heard yesterday. The goal of park tutors is not to give knowledge. Teachers are not giving something at their park tutors. The goal of the teachers is to enrich the probability to meet challenging subject or situation. It means children, they are children. They are allowed not to understand what really they want. They understand it, but they are allowed not to pronounce in words. And when we open park tutors, they meet a lot of new things there. And suddenly they ask, oh God, what is it? For example, my park tutor, chemistry park tutor, and biology science, we call it. And at first they saw different things there. And later one girl came to me with the tic-tac. You know tic-tac? Some candies, tic-tac. And she said, I would like to understand what is inside of them. So our goal, our purpose is this one. We open park tutors by academic subjects. We call them by academic subject, but inside it's another work. I repeat and repeat it. We don't give our knowledge. We grew up knowledge as an organ. Another park tutors could be called by some activities, for example, park tutor of projects, park tutor of researches. It doesn't matter. There are many different kinds. Could be park tutors or work in couples or in small groups. And I'm sure now you are listening me and you think, it's interesting, what park studio I could open. I don't know what park studio you would open, but teachers are allowed to open park studios, and after that to look at the students, what will happen. And one very interesting park studio is democratic governance. Some of you, I'm sure, work in the democratic schools. And if we will look at the ruling of the school, like at park-studio, you will understand what I mean. There are real problems, and we solve them together. And children and adults giving more and more possibility to solve the problems to students. Absolutely the same is inside all park studios. What spaces students create? Most of all, for sure, they prefer to communicate. They are looking for friends. Friends are very important for everybody. And by the way, when they find friends, they become stronger, and they start looking for their interests in all the spaces of the school. They are going to park school studios of the teachers. They are trying to communicate with others. They discover a lot of interesting things in physics, in the nature, etc. And for sure, they are searching a lot of information. I told before about park studio democratic governance. You could, okay, if it will be questions, we will answer them. And what are teachers doing? What are teachers doing? Yes, they open their places, but all the time, teachers are looking at the students and trying to understand, not good or bad they are. All of them are best children in the world. But teachers are trying to analyze what happened with them. Why this boy is playing all the time ball. Maybe he has a problem with the arms. Maybe he's trying to understand how, with what speed is jumping the ball. And it became more and more difficult to observe and analyze students when you have more and more students. But we find, and yesterday Olga Ivanova, she is here, head teacher of one of our projects, described the system, how we analyze it, without any assessment. We just put in the same place our observations. What happened? He was sitting all the day in the corner, and we have to understand what happened. We think about, we try to discuss with each other, we could ask students, and often we find very interesting answers, and we never are going to solve in the second inside. We are thinking together what to do, how to help, and most of the time students are help each other just with some of our ideas. And for sure, our park studios are changing all the time. We enrich them. If I saw the boy with the, I'm a science teacher, if I see the boy with the ball, for sure next day it could be a open park studio in science named The Ball. You could imagine how many interesting things could be there. And by the way, one more day later, this boy with the ball will work in my park studio as a leader instead of me, explain what did she find before together with me. When people are explaining to others, they are learning, they are training their knowledge as an organ, and they are growing up. For example, now I'm training my knowledge of park schooling. Students, teachers, oh, I didn't do it. It happens. I'm not sure that it is. Mm-hmm. Why it doesn't work? So, and teachers at their park studios and at the whole park schooling place, teachers are obligated to organize special places to exchange the knowledge, to transfer and to reflect knowledge and experience. It's very hard and very interesting job, and everybody thinking how it is better to be organized. So students every day, every minute are choosing where to go or not to go, what to do there, whom to communicate with, and how long to do what do they choose to. I will especially say that they are not choosing at the beginning of the school year or at the beginning of the month. They are not writing that they will go to Park Studio of Science of Olga half a year. No, no. They choose any minute, and it is very important thing, because if the teacher works worse, no students will come. By the way, it is very intensive pushing for the teachers to think all the time, what happens, why my colleague has, I don't know, 20 students and I have 0. It's not often happen because children, they pity us. They could understand that if the person is sitting alone, it's not good for the person. They will come and they will share the space and they will communicate. And it is very nice thing to see how they grew up. What happens? Who knows? I'm not the first person who is with the such situation. Why? And only in the situation when adults, teachers will enrich the whole educational environment, not just waiting when students will find something, but enrich the environment. And students will be allowed to choose at any moment where to go or where from to go out. The education will be really personalized. And that is why we call our project Education as Park of Open Studios. Where to go and what to do, they have to decide, and it is very hard job. And in this way, our students will be ready not only for nice nature roads, but also for this kind of roads where a lot of happens every moment, and they will have to understand and to help themselves to solve their problems and to see their problems as challenges. Thank you. You are very nice. I don't know whether somebody was writing something or not. And I think if you are, and now I will give Thomas, you will finish and we will start discussing. And if you will want to ask questions, just show us or remute, and you will be able to ask questions. We want to have a small discussion here. Thomas?
Okay, so having this description and talk about the possibilities of the approach and some experiences what we have, I would like to summarize in some words the methodology what we propose. First of all, just a moment because okay. So first, I would like to emphasize some methods of learning which we apply during our studio works, and these are the main methods are the following. First, we, as you could hear, we support the learning by discovering, experiencing, exploring. So it turned out that this approach provides a very efficient possibilities for realizing, discovering, experiencing. And at the same time, because we are living, even the learners are living in an information environment, it's very important to provide them different tools and skills for searching information, but not only searching for information alone, but to find the appropriate information for different type of problem situations. And at the same time, we also develop the skills for information finding or searching through different situations, and how the information what we obtain from one places could be useful in other problem situations too. So this means we at the same time provide the searching tools in a knowledge-driven and problem-driven way. And the third is a learning through data and information analysis, which is very strictly connecting with this information searching, because having the data and information, we have to make different type of analysis in order to get the necessary information from data and from the different sources of information, the appropriate information for solving the actual problems situation. And of course, we also support the way of learning by communication, when, for example, use of persuasion and presentation methods in order to organize a group to explore interesting uncertainty situations or uncertainty of concern. And at the same time, we also use learning through collaboration and cooperation. So, and even the main point here, that the groups what are organized dynamically during the education process are changing and new partners appear in the studios. So they provide a skill to organize their own space of interest and involve learners in order to solve the appropriate situations and answer the actual questions in collaboration and cooperation. And we also use learning style through information transition from one problem domain into another one, using different type of similarity analysis, which also a very useful tool for enlarging the thinking methodology towards the divergent way of thinking. And third, we provide during the learning process skills for building models, providing different representation and simulation methods in order to show, sorry, something happened, okay, in order to support the model-oriented and problem-oriented way of learning and afterwards thinking. And in the end, and we use different type of methods of reasoning, starting from divergent style of reasoning till the deductive, inductive, and other types of thinking in order to provide a possibility to grow up with a real art of thinking. And all these things, as you can hear, happened in a hybrid educational space, which is supported by the methodology, which support the appropriate using of ICT technological solutions. And of course, the hybrid educational environment consists of humans and artificial participants. So how they could be organized in a balanced way, it's an important method what we use in our park school or park of open studios. And we also help to develop a distributed and flexibly structured knowledge, which means that how you can use information your own and different type of knowledge what other people have and information what computers can provide us, how they could be combined into a structured knowledge which is structured according to the problem what you actually try to solve. And of course, the park school model has an important, if you like, characteristics. This is an open and self-structured educational environment, and self-structured in the sense that you have possibility to restructure the studios, to open a new one, and to reorganize the actual one according to the interest of the pupils. And of course, as I mentioned, the educational environment, which is hybrid, because it's made from both technical and human resources, will be adequately controlled and managed. And the activity, according to learners' individual interest and capacities, appear in the class because it, as you know, it's a self-directed learning process what happens in the studios. And it's a very important what I mentioned in the first part, that the model what we propose is a scalable model that it can be used for dozens of students up to several thousand students. So it's for very small schools, a very huge schools can be used and appropriately organized. And sorry, so I thought it happened. And the methodological specificity is what we have, that what I mentioned earlier, we try to organize and integrate episodic knowledge into a using a metacognitive approach into a more or less coherent knowledge, and it will be coherent according to actual situations, problem situations where we have to use this knowledge, and it can be reorganized accordingly to the new requirements. And at the same time, it's very important that we try to develop the art of thinking and finding the appropriate balance between thinking with schemas and the analytical thinking style. And this also means that we try to operationalize knowledge using different type of activities which concern certain different type of problem situations. And main specificities of the educational model, that it is scalable, as I mentioned, it is efficient even in the case of mass school education, which is important issue. It integrates the two coexisting realities, the virtual and real, into a well-balanced hybrid educational space in an efficient way, which also a good aspect. And the studios are adaptable to the actual expectations of the learners, and this means that it will provide a dynamically changing and very efficient educational space for different type of learners. This is almost everything what I would tell you about this methodology, and if I think we can turn to the questions now.
Yes, and I saw in the discussion somebody said that it is a kind of pedagogic. Yes, who it was? Is the person here? You see, regio-pedagogic.
Right.
Could you explain a little bit, what do you mean? Why it is the same?
Well, some similarities I heard in what you were saying, which is, yeah, that in those Reggio Emilia schools, they have to build time into the teacher's day for them to get together to share what they saw the students doing, what they think they're interested in, the logic of their activities, and what could be the next, something to bring into the park that would fit with where the learners are. So it's very intentional. There's a very clear role for the teachers, and but it's building on the students, trying to nurture their development. So
Yes,
it reminded me of that.
it is partly, but what we are trying to say that we can't take only one part of the methodology we proposed here. All of them are together, and for sure our psychological rules are from the same place with the regio-pedagogic, but we never have any curriculum, and we could do anything. Sometimes we make great lectures, very serious lectures. We invite professors of universities. It doesn't matter for us, because the purpose is not to give the knowledge and not to pass any curriculum.
Right.
And it's the difference. Thank you. Maybe somebody wants, you could unmute if you want, when you want to say something, ask something about whatever you want, or just say something. Woke up, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I couldn't, it took me a long time to connect, so I didn't say hi at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for this. It was very, very interesting.
Don't you want to argue with something? You were arguing everywhere, Terence. You are arguing person. Don't you want to argue with something in this?
Don't you think
you want to speak? What?
Don't you think it says something in itself that I'm not arguing?
Okay.
Maybe I agree with everything that's being said.
You know, it's not, okay, I will ask myself a question and answer for that. If you'd ask what is the most difficult thing to all organizers of park schooling. So somebody starts new school, and last year we start 2 new projects. And what do you think? What is most difficult thing when we are starting such kind of school? What do you think?
So I think there's a lot of areas of difficulty. I think there's financial difficulty. I think there's a lot of anxiety involved and a lot of expectations that possibly don't get met. And I also think that there's a spoke in the wheel, like a traffic jam that happens when the parents get involved, because the kids are much more receptive to this new idea than the parents are.
Okay.
And I think that also poses a big challenge.
Thanks. Elise wanted to say something? No? Anybody else?
Terence said it. Terence said it. It's a shift in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shift in thinking. So it's maybe not just the students and the parents, but maybe even the facilitators. That letting go of control, I think, is difficult for everyone. I wanted to ask you, and that's a great question, so feel free to carry on, but while I have the airway.
Liz, one more person wanted to answer, I think. I will give you your question a little bit later, okay?
Sure.
Well, I wanted to say something. I saw your... No? I don't hear you. You could... Chuck?
I just have another question.
Yeah,
okay. What?
I think one thing that must be very challenging is teacher preparation or facilitator, using the word facilitator, who have deep knowledge of child development, such deep knowledge of the materials that they're not just bringing in something they already know, that they can genuinely know enough about the materials to bring something that the kid is working on, and not just put a prescription. I think it's deeply professional. It respects teachers in a new light.
You know, the deep knowledge, it's not the main thing. I agree more with Liz, because if I don't know something, we could find it together, and it is much more better. I will show that I am a person. Great. Yeah. I don't know. Great. Let's search it. It's great.
Yeah, but I think we do have to say that I think Freire, Dewey would all say we cannot say it's not about knowledge. We cannot give that up. We cannot take that away. My students who explore materials, they know, if they don't know something about how an electrical circuit works, or the moon, or what's in the water in a deep way, beyond the names, then I don't want that. Because there is a deep subject matter knowledge, disciplinary, about how objects float and sink, that's beyond the vocabulary. Okay, so I want to take back that concept, that it is about, a big piece of this is wanting kids to really know deeply, not superficially. So
it is what Thomas was speaking about, not only deeply, but using your experience in new situations, and
correct.
It is very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We will go out with questions. It's much better than go out with answers. Questions means that we will think about it. It's great. Liz, you wanted to ask some question.
Yeah, and it kind of speaks a little bit to the point that was just raised. And you said we don't have a curriculum. And I would argue that you do have a curriculum. It's called a living curriculum, right? So you, oh, Andrews wants to say.
Chuck, then Andrew. What, Andrew? Andrew, we don't hear you. Andrew.
I would call it a meta-curriculum.
Meta-curriculum.
Yes.
It's interesting. Okay.
What's more meta than life, Andrew?
Exactly. So it's where the experiential part comes through. So we have to think holistically about not only life, but being and being in this cosmos.
You know, curriculum for me is something which have to happen after today. So curriculum is something we are thinking ahead, but we are living this day, today, and we solve problems today, and we have to look at the problems like for challenges and solve them. And if the problem is huge, just put it in small pieces and solve the problems. It's not know the problem. And you could find friends who could help you, and it will be your experience that friends could help you, etc. But it is very nice, meta curriculum. We will use it. I like it, please. Thank you very much. Chuck?
I'm calling from the United States. Do people in your, the children in your school learn English?
Yeah, we have some bilinguals. Some of them are learning English. I learn English all my life, and I'm not very good at this, but I'm learning. And during our park studios from the first year, Olga knows, I said that at the middle of the day, I'm learning English, and I'm watching TV in English. For me, it doesn't matter who will go with me. I am going to watch TV, and we have special TV room. TV is on the wall. We are laying down, speaking, and everybody are allowed to watch any movies only in English. We discussed, we have this rule. We won this rule together by democratic style, and they like it. They are listening all the time. And some of them now are playing games, you know, with American guys and others, and they start speaking because they were 3 years, they were listening English. And we are waiting, by the way, any good person who would like to learn Russian. Yes, Olga? And come to our school for 1 year, and we'll be happy. Who would like to play with students, to be with us, to do whatever they want, but speak English. We are waiting for such person. By the way, if you have such young person, young or not young, write us the letter. We will be very, very happy.
Maybe I missed this. Oh, I was a little bit late getting in too, but how is the school funded?
We have different projects. 2 projects worked in governmental schools and different, like experimental projects. There were, one project was in School of Self-Determination. It was very nice, interesting school in Moscow. But then head teacher died, and this project in this governmental school was stopped. And another was private school, and now some small schools of the parents organized schools. It's not my problem. Olga is, you see, Ivanova Olga is here. You could find her in Hoover and speak with her about foundation. It's not simple. Everybody knows, you know that it's not simple. But we grew up, her school is growing up 4 years now. And it's okay now because people are coming. People feel that we are not just, so they see teachers who are ready to work with students, who enrich the space. And by the way, if it is a big school, it's better. If there are, could you imagine, 100 or 200 or 2,000 students in one school? How many park studios you could open for this 2,000 students? Could you imagine? It could be 100 different park studios. It could be a real choice. But if you have 10 students, for sure you can't open 100 park studios working in the same time. You understand?
So are the park studios affiliated with a school?
Affiliated, Thomas, I can't understand.
Are they attached to a school? Like you're saying a school with 2,000 could be 100 park studios.
If it is a big school where 2,000 students are learning, for example, for any 30 students or 20 students, yes, one teacher in a moment, yes. So count how many, 2,000 for 20. It is 100 teachers are working the same time, yes?
Yeah, I understand that, but yeah, it's
But
okay.
they are in the school, not out of the school. They are in the school all the time. All the classroom doors are open and teachers are inside.
And the students just leave and go to the park studios whenever they want and come back?
Yes.
Do the teachers go with them?
What?
Do sometimes the teachers go with them to the park studios?
It depends. It depends of the situation. But sometimes we discuss what happened if a teacher is going out and somebody is coming and looking for the teacher. Yes. So any park studio has its rules, different rules. Okay. Anybody else? It is a time. Yes, Andrew. Switch on, please. Switch on. No voice, Andrew.
Here we are. I wonder about the political environment. In South Africa, we have an antagonistic environment towards self-democratic schools, self-democratic learning. We have a long history of having to sit and learn to be obedient. And so that stifles thinking. So one of the challenges we face in South Africa is how to avoid being closed down. It seems as if the danger is disappearing because our formal education system is so terrible that they have to find alternatives.
You know, everybody will die, and I will die somewhere. If I will think all the time about this moment, I will not live. So we are living and doing our best. And I'm sure that it is one and only possibility to work in our own places. And we are lucky, we are growing up. Thomas, would you like to say something for goodbye? Olga, I will come to you now, later.
Anyway, I think this is a ending moment. So one thing concerning the curriculum, I shared with everybody through chat my idea concerning this, and I would like to announced in the following words. So, Park School allows pupils to be who they are as opposed to being who a curriculum control school wants them to be. So this provides some freedom, if you like, and we can concentrate only on the things in the development which we hope are very important in their future life. Okay, so this, I think.
Thank you everybody that you came, listen, and I'm open, write to me, and I'll be glad to be in touch with all of you. Bye, it was so nice to see you today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Olga,
Bye,
thank
and
you
thank
for
you.
hosting. Bye. Tamas, thank you. Bye.
Bye.